Today I am going to show you how to edit your video podcast completely automatically without doing practically anything using Autopod, a plugin for Premiere that basically takes care of all the editing of a video podcast to make it look as good as possible. Autopod has three great features. The first thing we call the multi-camera editor, which is practically the most important thing to create your video podcast, is responsible for taking different video and audio tracks and putting a main one depending on who is speaking. Then it also has the jump cut editor, responsible for taking recorded video with pauses, automatically cutting it into pieces, and removing all pauses, providing a seamless viewing experience. Which is great for those of us who record and mess up a lot and need to think and stuff. Well, you record in one go, you have your pauses, and you're in charge of removing them. And then it has a social clip creator functionality that allows you to choose a clip from Premiere and transform it, reformat it into other formats to send it to Reels, to send it to a YouTube video, or absolutely whatever you want. Let's start with the multi-camera editor, which is kind of the main thing to create your video podcast. When we see this functionality, what we're going to find is that it's going to ask us about the cutting method, which is standard, which means that it loads and only leaves the clips that are seen, or the enable disable, which allows you to have all the clips, and the activated ones are the ones that will be seen, which allows for greater control in editing. We also have the frequency at which we desire the camera to come out, with multiple shots to select from. We're talking about the number of people who speak and the number of cameras. It's totally possible for you to have more cameras in one general or several generals than people. And then you assign each audio to its respective owner and each video track, including those with multiple people, to their respective owners as well, marking them accordingly. This provides a great deal of flexibility as it allows you to have video tracks where you can edit multiple individual cameras to include 2, 3, or 4 people on the screen simultaneously. Additionally, it offers the convenience of automatically displaying all these views. Once we have completed the setup, we simply click on the execute button and the software processes the videos. If you have a more powerful computer than mine, the processing will be much quicker. I am going to accelerate things a bit here. The initial one is that it is responsible for processing the videos. As you can observe, it automatically initiates the cutting of all the video clips. He makes cuts based on who is changing, who is speaking, who is the main focus, and when he needs to switch to more general shots. He is in charge of doing the entire editing, which involves cutting and, in this case, enabling or disabling the clips in another one, depending on the cutting method you choose. For example, he may simply leave the clips that stay and get rid of the rest. I like to do it with this enable disable so that later I can control whether in some plane I prefer something more general or I prefer to focus on a person or whatever you want. But basically here you simply sit down and the hard work of cutting, activating, deactivating, and all this level of detail you forget about, and this thing is the bomb. It functions exceptionally well. The outcome is this. So ultimately, without taking any action, we possess a concluding video track in which you can observe the individual speaking in the foreground, the shots are altering, and you are obtaining a significantly more captivating video podcast to view on YouTube. Personally, I find it very easy to generate it because I usually use StreamYard to record. StreamYard has been allowing for some time now to record video tracks separately and an editing track. So I possess that general clue that I can modify in real time. And then I possess the tracks of each one individually without any other accompanying story or narrative. So it's about downloading all the content, putting each one on a track, always aligning it here carefully. We have to make sure it fits well, which is perhaps the most critical part. And from here we move on to Autopod and it works perfectly. In my case, the Social Club's editor couldn't get it to work for me, but it's true that with Premiere you don't need so much hassle. You create a subsequence and change the sizes of the sequence and you're good to go. Since I have been utilizing Autopod, it is genuinely cool, but I do find the jump cut editor to be quite interesting. Why? So, as I was saying at the beginning, it allows you to record in one go with your breaks and all that, and then you can just pass it on, and this already generates a pretty short clip. I also use it when I do interviews and make a cut, because sometimes you ask someone a question and they have their pauses to think. Obviously in the video podcast it can look good, but what I mean is In a social clip, it might slow down a lot. So what this does is it cuts you off. It simply allows that number of milliseconds that you put here to be the maximum time a person can be silent, and it eliminates the remaining duration, and this gives a lot of dynamism and liveliness to the clips. As you've seen with Autopod, this Premiere plugin, you can edit your video podcasts, create your social clips, customize them, and more in a super easy way, which makes your video editing workflow super fast. I'm loving it. It has also allowed me to rediscover Premiere and see that you can really do everything very easily from here. Looking for what we content creators want, which is to have very optimized workflows. I hope you like it.